Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to be diving into the web framework that is, believe it or not, secretly powering some of the biggest websites you use every single day. We're talking about Next.js. So if you've ever wondered how the modern web gets built for serious speed and scale, you are definitely in the right place.
But let's kick things off with a problem that I think we've all felt. You know the one. You click a link and you just wait. So why do so many sites, even sites built with the latest tools, feel so sluggish? Well, that exact question is really at the heart of why Next.js even exists in the first place.
Now, to really get Next.js, you first have to understand its relationship with React. Think of it like this. React is an incredibly powerful, high-performance engine. It's amazing, but it's just the engine. Next.js is the whole car. It takes that engine and builds a complete, structured vehicle around it. With a chassis, a steering wheel, a navigation system, everything you need to actually get somewhere and get there fast.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We'll start by looking at that core problem Next.js was built to solve. Then, we'll break down its new architecture, explore what I'm calling its rendering superpowers, see how it stacks up against the competition, and finally, take a look at the heavy hitters who are using it to power the web.
So what is that core problem? Well, for years, developers using tools like Create React App were stuck in this really frustrating trade-off. They could build these amazing, highly interactive user interfaces, but it often came at a price: slow initial load times, and frankly, terrible search engine optimization, or SEO. You were constantly having to juggle speed, searchability, and interactivity. It was a real headache.
And this is exactly where Next.js comes in. It's what people call a batteries-included framework. What that means is it handles all the complex, behind-the-scenes stuff like routing, code bundling, and rendering right out of the box, so developers can just stop worrying about all those trade-offs and focus on what they actually do best: building awesome features.
So how does it actually do it? How does it get rid of those trade-offs? Well, a huge part of the magic is in its new architecture, which is called the App Router. And the core idea here is brilliantly simple. Split the application's components into two different types: the ones that run on the server and the ones that run on the client, in your browser.
What's so powerful about this is that server components are the default in Next.js. Because they render on the server, they can securely access things like databases and files directly. This whole approach keeps sensitive logic off of the user's device, and, maybe most importantly, it sends way less code to the browser, which makes the site load so much faster.
Okay, so what about all the interactive stuff, right? Like clicking a button or filling out a form? That's where client components come into play. You literally just mark a component with Use Client, and Next.js knows to send the code it needs to the browser to make it interactive. The key is you only use them when you absolutely need to, which is just a massive win for performance.
So, to put it simply, server components run on the server for direct, fast data access, while client components run in the browser to handle all the user interaction stuff through APIs. This separation, this is the secret sauce to building apps that are both incredibly fast and highly interactive.
Now, this server-client architecture is what unlocks what I like to call Next.js's rendering superpowers. See, instead of being stuck with just one way to build pages, developers can now choose the absolute best strategy for every single part of their application. This is a total game changer.
First up is Static Site Generation, or SSG. With this, the entire web page is pre-built into a simple HTML file when the site is deployed. So when you visit the page, it's just served up instantly from a global network. This is absolutely perfect for content that doesn't change a lot, like a blog post or a marketing page, and it is just unbelievably fast.
Next, we've got server-side rendering, or SSR. With this method, the page is generated on the server for every single request. This makes sure that the content is always fresh, always up to the minute, which makes it ideal for things like a personalized user dashboard or an e-commerce shopping cart.
Okay, now this is where it gets really powerful. Incremental Static Regeneration, or ISR, basically combines the best of both worlds. A page is initially generated statically, so it's super fast, but it can be updated in the background after a certain amount of time has passed. This is how giants like Netflix can manage their massive, constantly changing content library without having to rebuild their entire site every few minutes. It's genius.
And finally, we've got the traditional method, client-side rendering. This is great for those highly interactive, private pages that really don't need to be indexed by search engines. Think of a settings page inside your user account. It gives you that really smooth, app-like feel without a full-page reload.
All right, let's put it all together.
You've got SSG for max performance on static stuff like blogs. You've got SSR for dynamic, real-time data on dashboards. You've got ISR for that perfect blend of speed and freshness on huge content sites. And finally, CSR for those rich, private user interfaces. But the real power here is that Next.js lets you mix and match all of these across a single application. You get to use the perfect tool for every single job.
So, with all that in mind, how does Next.js actually compare to the other popular tools out there in the web development world? I think understanding where it fits in the competitive landscape really shows you its unique value. Right, when we put it side by side with its competitors, its unique strengths become really clear. Create React App is purely client-side, so it often sacrifices that initial speed in SEO. Gatsby is a beast for static sites like blogs, but it can be less flexible for highly dynamic content. Remix also focuses on server rendering, but it doesn't have the powerful static and hybrid options that Next.js gives you. This is where Next.js really stands out. Its flexible, hybrid approach truly offers the best of all worlds, all in one package.
Look, all this theory is great, but the real proof is in who's actually using it, right? We're talking about global companies trusting Next.js for their most critical applications, the ones handling millions of users every single day.
I mean, the roster of users really speaks for itself. Netflix, Nike, Hulu, TikTok, The Washington Post. From streaming and e-commerce to social media and news, these industry leaders have all adopted Next.js because it's proven itself. It's reliable, it's secure, and it's capable of scaling to meet the most demanding workloads on the entire planet.
And what does that performance actually look like in the real world? This number here, 300 milliseconds. That's the speed at which Vercel's global network can push out content updates using that ISR feature we talked about. We're talking about a near-instant global update. That's a tangible benefit that is just incredibly powerful for any large-scale site.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this. Next.js delivers this robust combination of performance, SEO, and rich interactivity. It just elegantly solves the fundamental trade-offs that have plagued web development for years, and that is exactly why it's become an industry standard.
So where does that leave us? By providing this flexible, powerful, and complete solution for the modern web, Next.js has positioned itself not just as another popular tool, but as a potential blueprint for the future of development itself. So the real question isn't just who's using it now, it's who is going to be using it next.